Greetings and salutations, comrades. Hope this finds you well. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you don't. Subscribe for more content. So this video is about Enes Kanter, Alan Macleod. Shout out Alan Macleod. He does great work. So does Mint Press News in general. This is about Enes Kanter. Again, he's been in the news a bit recently. I made a video about him a couple weeks back because he was talking this bullshit about, freeing Tibet, free Tibet. Supposedly, I don't know, does he not know the history of Tibet, how it was a serfdom before the Chinese Revolution, and people would get like their skin peeled off and their eyes gouged out by their serf overlords there? So this is the Enes Kanter we're talking about in this great article from Alan Macleod at Mint Press News. The title is Celtics or CIA? Gulenist hoop star Enes Kanter rides both benches. Enes Kanter is a professional basketball player in the United States. He plays for the Boston Celtics. So let's check out this article. Definitely, support Mint Press News, support Alan Macleod. They cover all these great issues and stories from a anti-imperialist lens. Super important. While there's no evidence that Kanter is a CIA employee, the 29-year-old hoop star does have a great many troubling relationships with some of America's most powerful state officials. John Bolton, the Clintons, and among others, right? Jared Kushner. Despite not even leaving the bench, the Boston Celtics center Enes Kanter was the one drawing the headlines in their season opener at New York's Madison Square Garden. The 6'10" Turk spotted shoes emblazoned with the words "Free Tibet." Again, I mentioned that earlier. Under the Chinese government's brutal rule, Tibetan people basic rights and freedoms are non-existent. Again, that is just a clear case of projection, a clear case of anti-China propaganda. What he's saying there is exactly what was happening under Tibet before the Chinese Revolution, right? Before that brutal serfdom was overthrown. And Google it. There's fucking evidence out there. 2 days later, he accused heartless dictator Xi Jinping of running slave labor camps in Xinjiang, demanding free the Uyghur people and stop the genocide. Now, Kanter went even further on October 26, directly calling for the overthrow of the Chinese government and wearing his new freedom shoes, which show him playing basketball with a cartoon version of Xi Jinping's severed head. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Change is coming. No one can stop it, he wrote, sharing the hashtag Free Hong Kong and Stand with Taiwan. Oh my God. Again, both Hong Kong, Taiwan, Tibet, all parts of China, you fucking useful idiot for the U.S. empire, right? He also challenged Nike founder Phil Knight, as well as basketball greats Jordan and James, to visit with him the slave camps in Xinjiang, where he implied Nike shoes are made. While Chinese media dropped Celtics game as a result, Kanter's political stands have been largely met with rapturous applauses in official circles closer to home. Yep, Rubio. His only crime is having the courage to speak out against oppression, reacted Senator Florida and Republican presidential hopeful Marco Rubio. So, okay, this is who Enes Kanter politics lines up with. Right-wing reactionaries like Marco Rubio, war hawks, war criminals like John Bolton, the Clintons, Jared Kushner, leaders within the apartheid state of Israel government. Okay, these are the bedfellows that Enes Kanter keeps, just for reference, right? Keep that shit in mind. On social media, however, the response was more mixed. While many praised his actions, others pointed to his troubling history working with many of the world's worst human rights abusers, abusing nations, and questioned whether the whole thing was national security state PR stunt. Enes Kanter's CIA became a meme around the net, with many speculating about his links to Washington. Mint Press spoke with Danny Haifong. Definitely support his work and his work at Black Agenda Report. Haifong, a passionate Celtics fan, said that he was not surprised by the mixed response to Kanter's statements. Enes Kanter deserves all the scrutiny he has received. Kanter's mentor, Fethullah Gulen, has protected CIA agents, and his anti-China operation comes just weeks after CIA announced a renewed focus on China. Kanter has rapidly become the face of the U.S. propagandist campaign against the Beijing 2022 Olympics alongside NED-backed forces. Again, the CIA cut out the National Endowment for Democracy. Speaking truth to power. While there's no evidence that the 29-year-old star is a CIA employee, Kanter does have a great many troubling relationships with some of America's most powerful state officials. In July, for instance, he traveled to Washington to meet senior war planner John Bolton, a guy, again, who's never met a war or potential war he wasn't in support of, right? Key figure in the Iraq War, deception, and former President Trump's national security advisor. The two men met in the Russell Senate office building. Kanter announced that he had a great discussion on human rights with his friend John Bolton. Marco Rubio is giving him praise. Okay, this should give everybody fucking pause who is throwing their, support behind this fucking imperial stooge. Turkish star also met with Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner, sharing a video of himself with Kushner and Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Gilad Erdogan. He claimed that good things are ahead. He also has a close relationship with Rubio, who he describes as a champion of freedom around the... Oh my God, dude. But there's actual people out here that think this guy is like legit. Like, he's probably not actually on the CIA's payroll, but he's doing their bidding for free, right? He's a useful idiot serving, the interests of the U.S. empire and U.S. imperialism. Huge thanks to Senator Rubio for standing up for human rights, freedom, democracy, Kanter wrote on his Facebook page alongside a video of their meeting in the Capitol building. Professional basketball players, however, far from partisan. In 2019, he met with Bill and Hillary Clinton, talked about President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Turkey, and presented the Clintons with 2 Boston Celtics jerseys with his number and Clinton on the back. He also publicly campaigned for Democratic Representative Elliot Engel's re-election campaign against progressive challenger Jamal Bowman. Not much progressive, though, unfortunately. Former House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman, Engel has taken a number of hawkish positions in the Middle East and is vocally critical of Erdogan. Kanter's also worked in his home state, Senator Ed Markey, on Turkish affairs. It's further known that Kanter has some sort of relationship and communication with the FBI, the agency even installing a panic button in his house. What in the fuck, dude? Look, there's him getting out the vote for another war hawk, right? Elliot Engel. Kanter is a regular on the Western government-sponsored human rights NGO circuit, speaking a number of times at Human Rights Foundation, HRF. HRF is headquartered in the Empire State Building, an apt address for a group that serves U.S. empire. The HRF's founder, Thor Halvorsen, is the son of a former Venezuelan government official, widely accused of being a CIA informant and gun runner for the agency's dirty wars in Central America in the 80s, and is a cousin of convicted Venezuelan terrorist Leopoldo Lopez. Kanter is also friends with another yes. Oh my God! Look, just the company you keep, right? It says a lot about you. Yonomi Park, I might be mispronouncing their name. My apologies. I know who this person is. North Korean defector who makes gigantic sums of money telling rude and demonstrably false stories about her former home country, the DPRK. Sharing a video of them playing basketball together, Park thanked Kanter for speaking truth to power. That's not what he's doing at all. You're a true inspiration. I'm honored to call you my friend. Kanter is indeed speaking truth to power. He is close enough to it that he can whisper. Another case in point is his girlfriend, Ariana Rockefeller, the scion of the Rockefeller banking dynasty, committed Zionist. So he's supposedly, speaking out about, the injustices that the people in Tibet face, how, there's just such a brutal dictatorship, authoritarianism in China, but completely in support of the apartheid state of Israel, just the contradictions there. And he's talking about, promoting human rights, democracy, and freedom. We're talking about Marco fucking Rubio, who wants to, starve everybody in Cuba in order to institute, regime change that would be friendly to U.S. imperial interests. I mean, this guy is a fucking joke. I don't know why anybody takes these fucking celebrities, these athletes seriously on these issues when they're just completely talking out of their ass, right? Second highly unusual feature of Kanter's politics is just how passionately he's committed to the state of Israel. Indeed, by the late stage of his basketball career, I like this little dig at him, Kanter spends almost as much time with senior Israeli officials as he does in the court. In January, he announced publicly he enjoyed a great conversation about human rights and justice with Israel Minister of Foreign Affairs official Lior Hayat. few weeks later, Kanter had another meeting supposedly on the same subject with his great friend and Lucid politician Ofer Katz, that Israel's one of the world's worst human rights abusers, has been labeled a racist apartheid state by the UN. And human rights groups like Beta Salam and Human Rights Watch appears not to bother him. Kanter met Kushner at an APAC event where he also had, in his words, honor and pleasure to be in the company of officials from the UAE and Bahrain, two of the planet's worst human rights abusing nations, although both are close partners of the USA. Funny, right? Earlier this year, Kanter also co-authored Newsweek editorial alongside the Israel permanent rep to the UN, in which he denounced extreme left, singling out of only Jewish state as despicable, as an act of anti-Semitism, only to defeat racism. They argued it was to come together to support. Jesus Christ, dude. Kanter oversees his own political academy, basketball academy, and teaches other Muslims that their opposition to Israel is based purely on anti-Semitic bigotry, not for political moral. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, how much of this bullshit can we take, right? Working the give and go with Gulen, a little basketball reference, right? Kanter's strange politics largely stem from the fact he's a member of the Gulen movement, a conservative Islamist fraternal org based around preacher Fethullah Gulen. The movement has expanded over 100 countries and boasts millions of members in Turkey and further afield. The Gulen movement is an economic powerhouse, owning media outlets and a bank, and operating over 1,000 schools worldwide, including estimated 120 in the U.S. Growing up, Kanter attended one of these schools. As such, Gulen movement operated almost as a state within a state in Turkey, with Gulen himself encouraging his followers to take up positions in the police, local government administration, judiciary, and other influential roles. Followers are encouraged to donate between 5 and 20%, even more of the incomes to Gulen's projects. Considering he has earned more than $100 million playing basketball, Kanter alone could be a significant source of income for the org. And this goes to like kind of the Gulen movement falling out with Erdogan. Let's see. When Kanter's case is discussed at corporate media, he is nearly universally described as being persecuted solely for criticizing Erdogan. Never mentioned he's one of the most visible and vocal members of a group designated as terrorist by a NATO member state, a group that very likely masterminded a coup that killed hundreds, a journalistic omission that crosses the boundary from irresponsible to intentionally deceitful. It's quite possible to feel sympathy and solidarity for Kanter and oppose Erdogan and the AKP without pretending that the context is relevant. Enes Kanter claims he stands for human rights in China, yet is a proud supporter of Israel and its colonial oppression of the Palestinians. Danny Haifong told Mint Press, adding, his mentor, Fethullah Gulen, his deep connection with the CIA, publicly condemned the Gaza flotilla raid in 2010, even after Israeli forces killed several activists trying to ship supplies to the blockaded open-air prison. Kanter's political motives are thus not merely questionable, but clearly aligned with the most reactionary forces on the planet. Clear insight and analysis from Danny Haifong, per usual. Turkey has traditionally attempted to play East and West off against each other, but relations with the U.S. have soured in recent years. Erdogan has accused the U.S. of supporting the 2016 coup attempt. In October, he also threatened to expel 10 Western diplomats. Meanwhile, Washington has balked at Turkey's decision to purchase an S-400 air defense system from Russia and blocked Turkish acquisition of the new F-35 fighter jet. Kanter to CIA. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to do your bidding, U.S. imperial interest. Kanter is far from the only celebrity to have questionable relationships with the national security state. Hollywood actress Angelina, for instance, co-wrote New York Times op-ed with John McCain in which the pair called for more U.S. interventions around the world. Meanwhile, Jack Ryan star John Krasinski often does PR for the CIA. Same with Ashton Kutcher. There's a number of them, right? Describing them as amazingly apolitical. They're always trying to do the right thing, he said of the agency, claiming to care about the country in a bigger, more idealistic way. The CIA is something we should all not only cherish, but be saying thank you for every single day. John Krasinski, useful idiot for the U.S. empire. To conclude, is there any hard evidence that Enes Kanter is CIA? As the name suggests, no. The CIA does not work like that. They would not be foolish enough to formally employ celebrities on their books, leaving a paper trail. There would be no utility in that, as it would delegitimize all involved. It's far better to openly liaise with these individuals. However, is Kanter willingly and enthusiastically playing the role of national security state tool because it aligns with his and his movement's politics? Very much so, yes. And in the end, there's little tangible difference between the two. Enes Kanter's politics are as shitty as his game, Haifong concluded. Boom. So pretty interesting article there. Just shout out to this shirt. Shit, what is this website? This is obviously, Black Panther Party's free food program. Melanin Apparel. Shout out Melanin Apparel. Yeah, Enes Kanter's politics are shitty, as Alan Macleod sums up in his conclusion there. It really matters very little if he's formally on the CIA's payroll, or if he's just a useful idiot serving the interests of the U.S. empire and U.S. imperialism. It seems like it's the latter, but still has very disastrous consequences. The bullshit and just propaganda he puts out there, about all these issues, and just look at the company keeps: Marco Rubio, John Bolton, the Clintons, bragging about the apartheid state of Israel, Jared Kushner, etc., etc. Like the video, subscribe for more content. Quick shout out to the 2 Uber comrades supporting this channel, my partner in Independent Left News. Peace. Much love.